Belfast, capitale de l'Irlande du Nord. Reconnue pour ses châteaux, ses paysages et comme lieu de naissance du Titanic. C'est aussi une ville au passé violent, entre protestants et catholiques. Et comme repère de rien, direction Belfast. Lorsqu'on arrive à Belfast, c'est une belle ville. On sent vraiment la présence des églises, des bâtiments historiques. Et l'histoire, on peut la lire sur les murs parce que partout, lorsqu'on se promène en ville, on voit des fresques qui nous racontent un peu l'histoire de Belfast. C'est impossible de ne pas pouvoir entendre parler du conflit qui a eu lieu entre les catholiques et les protestants. Donc, pour en savoir un peu plus sur la ville et visiter ses beautés cachées, je décide d'aller rencontrer mon guide, qui lui a une compagnie de taxi qui se spécialise justement dans les tours guidés dans la ville de Belfast. Norman, you're going to be my tour guide today.
Yeah, I'm going to show you around Belfast.
Why did you pick this location here to start the tour?
This is the positive side of Belfast with all the redevelopment and a lot of money's getting spent around here.
Le lieu de rencontre, le musée du Titanic. Ce qu'il faut comprendre, le Titanic a été construit ici même, à Belfast. Par la suite, il a été livré aux Anglais à Liverpool. Did it claim the fate of the ship or just the fact that it was built here?
The fact that it was built here.
Okay.
You know, there's a T-shirt you can buy in Belfast. Titanic made in Belfast. It was okay when it left here.
Ah, that's a good one.
So, yeah.
Normand mettait beaucoup l'emphase sur le fait que la ville a beaucoup changé, que c'est rendu une belle ville qui est en plein essor économique. Et je dois dire que c'est apparent parce qu'il y a des grues un peu partout en ville, ce qui nous démontre que présentement, les affaires vont bien à Belfast. So where are we going from now?
What we're going to do, we're going to bring you in through the city centre, and then we're going to be heading up into West Belfast, where we're going to concentrate the tour on the recent history, on the political side of things, all about the troubles in the segregated communities around religion and politics.
So let's go.
Okay,
Talk about
let's
it.
go.
Pack your bags for a trip around the globe. I'm captivating the world with my flow. Are you coming with me or staying? You left the amateurs, baby. You now dealing with a pro.
Donc, après avoir discuté un peu, j'embarque avec lui dans son taxi pour qu'il me fasse découvrir Belfast, ses bons côtés et ses mauvais aussi. So how long have you been doing this?
20 years.
20 years?
Yep.
So what got you involved in it?
Basically, what actually happened was, I mean, when the ceasefire was called in 1994, and you're getting tourists coming up to taxi drivers and saying, would you take us on a tour of the troubled areas? And we were like, yeah, get in. We were just thinking, extra couple of pounds.
Notre premier arrêt est dans le quartier des cathédrales, le Cathedral Quarter. C'est un quartier historique, puis je vous dirais que c'est un endroit à découvrir. Donc, en entrant dans le petit espace, il y a un couloir qui nous emmène sur un grand air qui était découvert. Et là, il y a des dessins, des photos qui nous montrent un peu l'histoire de Belfast à travers les années. How was it living those troubled days?
Troubled days, but you know what? See, to be honest with you, as a teenager living in Belfast, it was quite exciting. I know that's the wrong word to use because people were losing their lives, but you just got on with life.
Why it was so dangerous?
To do with the troubles and the politics, you know, Protestants stuck to Protestant areas, Catholics stuck to Catholic areas, you know what I mean?
Sur place, on a beaucoup discuté de comment c'était à son époque, lorsqu'il était lui-même adolescent ou jeune homme, de vivre à l'intérieur de ces tensions-là. You know, back in those days when you were sitting at the dinner table, people were talking about what's happening?
Not really, no. But it was always there in the background. You were watching TV, next minute, newsflash, somebody was murdered, there was a bomb in the city centre. You know what I mean? And this is every other night, you hear that? You heard helicopters hovering, sirens going off, gunshots, explosions.
What is your memories of the days when you had to cope with military being there, patrolling the streets?
The British Army were here to uphold the law, you know, and they were welcome within the Protestant areas. I mean, I'm a Protestant, and I remember my mother would have brought some soldiers into the house or brought them out a cup of tea because she felt sorry for them because they were all young lads, 17, 18 years of age, through into Belfast. You know, a lot of soldiers were murdered here over the years, murdered because they were doing a job.
And what about the police?
Police, they were there every day as well, yep.
But why they needed military presence if you have a police force?
The police didn't have the resources to control what was going on, which is why the British government sent over 5,000 soldiers as a temporary measure. They ended up being here for 35 years. And
that's quite a temporary...
Yeah. And at one particular time in Northern Ireland, there was 35,000 soldiers here.
35,000 soldiers?
More here than what there was in Afghanistan and Iraq. That was my life growing up as a young boy.
Le prochain arrêt, c'est quelque chose qui était totalement inattendu de ma part. Il y a encore un mur à Belfast qui sépare la ville en deux. Donc, il va séparer le côté protestant du côté catholique. Et je dois le dire, je m'attendais genre à un morceau de mur. Non, ça fonctionne encore. Il y a même encore une gate, donc une barrière, qu'on ouvre et qu'on ferme la nuit. Je dois le dire, c'est un peu dérangeant. So this wall is called the Peace Wall.
Peace Wall, yep.
How effective was it to keep the peace?
Well, it's a bit ironic that it's called the Peace Wall, but it keeps the peace. That's what it's all about. Before the wall was built, there used to be like a tin wall, like a corrugated iron, right? The metal wall was easy pulled apart. Going in, throwing stones at Catholics, hand-to-hand fighting. People were throwing petrol bombs. It was hot and heavy. So that's why they built the permanent wall. Once they built the permanent wall, it sort of like stopped the trouble between both communities.
We're in peacetime right now.
Yeah.
But Protestant and the Catholics, they're not mixed together still.
No. Only 20% of Belfast Protestants and Catholics live together.
But the wall is a remain of the past.
It's a remainder of the past, but it's part of the future at the minute because it's still needed to a certain extent. There's talk about walls coming down in the future. It's all about timing, and the timing isn't right. Everybody wants this wall to come down, just not yet.
Donc le mur, maintenant, on s'en sert surtout à rappeler cette période de troubles. Il y a environ une quarantaine de pieds de haut, 2000 de long. C'est impressionnant et ça laisse planer que l'attention, tout le monde veut la paix, mais ça pourrait changer. The trouble started in the 50s, 60s.
It's been brewing from the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s because the Catholic community felt they weren't being properly treated. Jobs, housing, representation in the government, civil rights marches begun, it just kicked off. This was a pressure cooker simmering for a long time, and when it blew, it escalated, and basically it turned into like a civil war.
It was a civil war.
Yeah, well, it was like, you kill us, we kill you. You plant a bomb in our neighbourhood, we're going to plant a bigger bomb in your neighbourhood. It was terrorism.
Can you explain to me the link between religion and politics?
Right, the religious side of things, obviously they read the same Bible, pray to the same God, they have different political opinions. Basically in Northern Ireland, Protestants class themselves as British or Northern Irish and want to remain part of the United Kingdom. They don't want to lose their identity because they all come from British descent. Whereas big percentage of Catholics in Northern Ireland class themselves as Irish and want the Brits out. They don't want British rule, they want the 6 counties in the north and the 26 in the south to become one country. So that's what it's all about. We're all not going to church on a Sunday. It's like tribalism. Religion's a badge, it's a label you wear.
So it's quite nice to see that people are moving over, looking for a bright future in a strong country.
People are confident. Nobody wants to get back to the way it was.
Thanks, Norman.
All the best, okay?
It's a pleasure.
No problem on you.
Maintenant que j'ai fait le tour de la ville avec un guide, je vais aller me faire une tête par moi-même et me promener à l'intérieur de la ville pour découvrir les endroits un peu plus obscurs. Lorsqu'on est à Belfast, c'est impossible de ne pas voir les murales qu'on retrouve sur les murs des gros bâtiments. Et ça, peu importe du côté de la ville où on se trouve. Je m'en vais rencontrer Danny du côté catholique de la ville, soit dans l'ouest, dans le quartier de Short Strand. Danny, you're an artist, and we're standing right in front of one of your best pieces of art.
Well, this is one of my proudest pieces anyhow. I didn't say my best, but Bobby was a friend of mine. I shared prison together with him.
Wait. You've been to prison?
Yes.
What for?
I was robbing the bank for the IRA. We were young men, joined the IRA, and one of the things you're told when you join the IRA, you have two options. You either go into prison or you're getting killed. We were the lucky ones. We ended up getting arrested and sent to prison.
C'est quelqu'un avec qui j'ai eu beaucoup de plaisir à discuter, qui m'a raconté un peu son entrée dans l'IRA. Ce qu'il faut comprendre, c'est que tu n'avais pas même le choix.
Paramilitaries, assisted and actually directed by the police force, came into this neighbourhood and burned all these streets down, right? That was 1969. On these walls in this neighbourhood, the slogan IRA didn't represent Irish Republican Army. It meant I ran away. The people here believed that the IRA had let them down. They hadn't defended the community. 9 months later, a similar attack in my neighbourhood in the Short Strand, the IRA had regrouped. The IRA defended my neighbourhood, and every one of our generation wanted to join the IRA.
Talk to me about the role that Bobby Sands played for the cause.
Bobby in prison, I could talk on him for months about Bobby. Bobby was a brilliant sportsman, a brilliant musician. He was a great poet. One of his greatest quotations, repeated daily within our community: our revenge will be the laughter of our children. That's all Bobby wanted. He wanted equality, he wanted justice, he wanted the right of our own people to govern ourselves, to self-determination, but no revenge. We shared probably 4 years in prison together. Bobby was released before myself, but he was back in prison again within 3 or 4 months, and that's what led to his period in the Hades blocks, where the British decided to take away our status as political prisoners. They were brutalised, and in the campaign to highlight that, 10 of them ended dying on hunger strike.
Donc, j'ai demandé à Danny qui m'explique les raisons derrière ces murales. En ce qui nous concerne présentement, devant celle de Bobby Sands, c'est vraiment pour porter hommage à cet individu qui, selon lui, était vraiment un homme non seulement important pour le mouvement, pour la ville, pour le pays, mais pour lui.
Art has always been part of my makeup ever since I was a kid. And even when I went to prison, my first meeting with Bobby was through my art. Irish Republicans who were arrested across the water in England. It's a bit like today, the way Muslims are demonised. Our prisoners being held in jails in England weren't only being brutalised by the prison regime, which you expect, but also by the other common criminals, right? They were singled out and beaten up. Many of us used to write out to the newspapers to let them know, to highlight this, to tell them what was going on. I would design posters, draw cartoons and send these out to the newspapers. And that's how subsequently, coming from an IRA background as a prisoner of war, that other people spotted me and said, you know what we need? We need people like you on the outside to start publicising what our struggle is about, because the British have total control of the mass media. They have censored our own newspapers. We need to start telling people out there what this is all about. We realised very early on the importance of this, and I'm not sure who you worked for, but I remember meeting an NBC film crew way back in sort of the early 90s. We painted this mural on a gable wall. The next day, The reporter came back to me and told me that his producer wanted to do a follow-up story. I'm going, what are you talking about? He says, you don't realise, when we broadcast that yesterday, that reached 40 million of an audience. So we realised then how important it was to continue this, how we were probably achieving what we had accidentally set out to do. We didn't realise the power of how a mural can travel right across the world.
Avec Danny, ce que j'ai compris, c'est pas seulement les raisons des murales, c'était vraiment ce qui les motivait derrière le mouvement. On peut sentir que même s'il y a beaucoup d'années qui sont passées depuis le cessez-le-feu, c'est encore très vivant en lui. Et lorsqu'il en parle, on sent cette passion qui les a animés dès le début et qui l'anime encore.
I'm glad then you actually became an artist because you were a poor bank robber.
I was the absolute worst IRA man they ever created. I was useless, honest to God.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you.
En faisant des recherches, j'ai découvert qu'il y avait quelqu'un de très spécial à Belfast. Par contre, ma difficulté, c'était de le trouver. Bon, je cherche un artiste de la rue. C'est le cas de le dire, parce qu'il ramasse les objets avec lesquels il fait son art dans la rue. Donc, ça doit être la ruelle, parce que je vois une affiche qui dit « workshop ». Donc, ça doit être quelque part par ici. C'est-tu ici? Il y a une bine à déchets. On doit être proche. Wow! On va en essayer une. Paddy?
Yes?
I'm at the right place now?
You are indeed. How you doing?
How you doing?
Doing great, yes.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Doing well, yeah. So
I found it.
I wasn't expecting you now. If I'd known you were coming, I could have tidied up a bit, you know. But
Oh, it's okay.
a clear path.
It's a nice pigeon there.
Yeah, he's been dead for a while. But...
Donc, en entrant dans l'atelier, après qu'il m'ait fait un chemin à travers tout ce qui traînait par terre, atelier, c'est un grand mot. J'ai trouvé que c'était un ramassis de pas mal de choses et c'était pas très clair dans ma tête, c'était quoi? Can you explain to me what kind of artist you are?
So I work a lot with metal, and I work a lot with machines and moving objects.
How did you get to do it?
I studied engineering at one point, and then I got bored of that, and then I switched to study sculpture. I wanted to study sculpture because I wanted to like waste time and not get a proper job. And
That's a good plan.
Yeah, and I've been very successful because I'm now 40 years old and I'm still skint.
Donc, à un moment donné, je lui ai demandé de quoi il était le plus fier, qu'est-ce qu'il avait réussi à inventer, parce que c'est aussi un inventeur.
I haven't actually got the full version of it here. I've got the prototype of this device. This was the first ever Texas chainsaw massager. It had a big hand on the end of it, but
OK.
yeah. But there's a second generation, so that one's just spare parts now
Okay.
that goes in the pile.
I like the way you dispose it.
Yeah.
Donc, après m'avoir présenté son outil de massage, là, c'était le moment où il allait me montrer son ultime invention, celle dont il est le plus fier. C'est un genre de système de couteau et de fourchette électrique.
So I've got this gherkin cooking device here, which might be interesting for you.
So what is it?
You can cook your food and eat your food at the same time. So it's labor saving, and it just makes mealtimes a bit more exciting. I've got some gherkins. You grab those.
Les cornichons.
I'll just do my dishes then for you as well then.
OK.
Cleaned up?
Thanks.
Yeah?
Thanks for cleaning up for
Yeah.
me.
Let's see.
Pas sûr que j'ai faim.
There we go. So that's us all lived up. And then you want to get your gherkin. So you just, you can take a few slices off your gherkin
C'est fun
there.
parce qu'on peut voir le cornichon
Yeah.
qui allume. It does work, eh? It does.
Yeah, it works quite good. It's a good one, yeah. Yeah,
Good.
sort of,
Ah.
like a smoky barbecue kind of a flavor, yeah.
Mais pour être honnête avec vous, la partie qui m'intéressait le plus, c'était de l'essayer moi-même. Donc, il m'a passé son couteau et sa fourchette, m'a sorti un gros cornichon, puis j'ai commencé à couper là-dedans. C'est ça que j'ai trouvé ça le fun.
Yeah, it's good, good head of steam you built up there. So,
This one is well done.
yeah, this one's good, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, that's a good one, yeah.
That's a good one, eh?
That's a good year.
That's a good year. Après avoir vécu une expérience culinaire assez particulière, c'était le moment maintenant de participer à une session d'inspiration de Paddy lorsqu'il fait de la recherche de produits dans les poubelles.
There's new rubbish has arrived in the alleyway, then yesterday's quite a lot of stuff.
There's some Christmas light there.
Yeah. Like, so useless. Plugs are always good. You're always short of plugs, aren't you? They've been specially designed so we can't reuse them, you can't get into them. That's rubbish. Ironing board.
Massage table?
Or keyboard stand. If you were going to be in a band, no.
We're not lucky today, eh? Wait, fit me. Come on.
More rubbish. There's definitely a bit of a smell of rotten meat out of that one. Hold that one.
Oh!
There we go. So we get a turn out of that. You know, it's got a motor. There's a large rock in there, yeah. We'll leave that one. Some furniture. It's well made. It's well made. It's not, you know, it's not the cheap stuff.
How is it? Put your feet up.
It's not bad.
Paddy, I'm gonna go. I don't want to slow you down. I know you have a big day ahead of you.
Yeah, okay. That's a nice one, yeah.
Thank you.
Cool. Have a good one. Enjoy your visit.
Thank you. I'll let you go.
Yeah, cool.
Ciao.
Yo, my name is Denix, I'm from the streets, I'm wildin'. I'm co-signing deals, I'm fucking wildin'. I'm trying to make it on my motherfucking level. Do you have it? Do you want to be fucking special? I wanna be the best in the motherfucking country. Fuck all them other boys that think they got something. I got all motherfucking everything you fucking want. Cocaine, motherfucking ecstasy you want. I don't give a fuck about the drugs, see? I got punched in the face last night cause they don't like me. You know what I mean? I'm G, I'm on the streets. But every time I speak, that's it. I'm out. Yo, B, yo.
Belfast, en apparence, c'est très beau. Par contre, on retrouve un problème de drogue qui est très présent. Il est plus présent maintenant parce que les troubles sont terminés, ce qui a fait ressortir l'importance du problème de la drogue. Et pour mieux le comprendre, quoi de mieux que rencontrer quelqu'un qui a vécu l'avant et l'après. Gary, we're near city centre of Belfast. Is there a drug problem here?
Yeah, there's a drug epidemic with heroin and prescription medication. I've seen so many friends die. I've been to about 25 funerals in the past 4 years, all related,
25.
all related to drugs and suicide.
Why, during the troubled times, there were not such a problem with drugs?
Well, the IRA and the loyalist paramilitaries, they concentrated on the war, and if drugs come into the community, it would do what it's doing now to the community, wreck people, wreck families. They didn't want that because there was bombs and there was shootings. They didn't need a drug epidemic at the same time, you know.
Ensemble, on a discuté de son adolescence, ses premiers problèmes avec la drogue, ainsi que ses problèmes avec l'IRA. Et je dois le dire, c'était quand même assez violent.
I was 15 years of age and I was caught with a bit of cannabis by the IRA. And I got,
What happened?
I got a broken shoulder, I got beat by a baseball bat. That was the first time I was attacked by the IRA, and they put me on a 24-hour house arrest where I wasn't allowed to leave the house. And
The IRA
yeah, the IRA
put you on house arrest?
House arrest.
They had the power to do that?
Yeah, they had the power, because these guys came in masks, had guns, but when they didn't have the masks on them, they were your neighbours and your community representatives, so you knew these guys. If you were told not to go out of the house, you didn't go out.
So you had an encounter with them more than once?
Yeah.
So what happened on the second time?
I was shot by 2 different members of the IRA. One because I stole his car, and the other one who I had a fight with and assaulted him.
Were you shot running away, or?
No, what happened was they put my hands behind my back with cable tag.
Okay, yeah.
Cable tag. Put me in the back of the car and put a towel over my head. They took me away, held me for 11 hours. But before they shot me, they tortured me in the house.
You okay now?
Well, my right ankle's destroyed. They hit me with a 45mm gun in that ankle. On the right ankle, the bullet went right through the bone because it was a high-powered pistol. I have my right sensor. I can't run, I can't play sports. I can't even play football with my sons. Even though the war's over, there's still elements in the community who possess these names, the IRA, continuity IRA.
Still?
Still. And they're here for a main reason now, is they're taxing the drug dealers. These guys are coming to your door and saying, right, if you want to sell drugs, you give us half profit or you're getting your legs blew off. So now the paramilitaries are involved highly in the drug trade. The police have never arrested the IRA for any attacks on young people. When the IRA targets you for crimes, then the police are looking at you, well, what was he shot for? And then you're arrested for crimes that have been committed. So you're getting shot for your crimes, then you're going to prison. So in this country, you get two punishments for one crime. One by the community police, who say they're the IRA. They say they're a community, but it's not really. They're terrorists. They're just terrorize the community.
Pour être honnête, c'est difficile de croire ce que Gary me raconte parce que, en apparence, tout va bien. Pour me le démontrer, il m'emmène dans un petit boisé qui est à 200 pieds. Et quand j'arrive sur place, là, on comprend bien qu'effectivement, il y a un problème.
Yeah, it's pretty scary, eh? You don't want to step on it.
Yeah, well, about 2 months ago, these boosters used to be really tall, high, but the council came in and cut them down because of people camping here and injecting their needle stuff. There's one there.
There's one right there.
You know.
No cap, very dangerous. Tu piles là-dessus, tu peux t'infecter, tu peux pogner une maladie. Donc c'est clair que c'est pas nécessairement un endroit où j'ai envie de marcher.
And then if you come over here, this is where they actually
Look at it.
take it all. This is where they mix it all.
Plein de seringues là-bas.
Boosters are very synonymous where kids come in and playing because of trees and all. If kids come and play here, you know, even one child standing on it could affect his whole life. Standing on one needle.
Yeah, we're about 5 minutes walk from downtown.
The police station's right there.
Right there.
That's a big major private school, you know.
So just across the street.
Yeah, that's where all the doctors and solicitors and high politicians send their kids. Would they like to know that where they send their kids 100 yards away, there's people injecting heroin, you know?
And nothing is done to actually fix the problem.
No, it's getting worse. There's no detox centres to help people off. The politicians come out last week and said there was 45 registered heroin addicts in Belfast. That's a lie, because I know at least 50. The politicians are trying to keep it on the down low because they're fighting a bigger battle with each other. But if our people got together and worked as a team instead of fighting with each other, Catholics and Protestants, they would defeat the problem. Both sides hate each other so much that there's been so much killing.
Still, even to this day.
Even today. Now, my friends, where I come from now, where I live now, my friends are Protestants. And they're good people, and they see me as a good person as well, you know. And that's the way I want my sons to be. I want my sons to grow up not just to be able to talk to Protestants. I want them to talk to Chinese people, black people, because our country has lived on sectarianism for too long. People getting murdered for just being a Catholic, or people getting murdered for being a Protestant, is wrong.
Gary semble motivé par une passion pour dénoncer une conspiration entre le gouvernement et des factions criminelles pour pouvoir profiter de la faiblesse des gens et de leur dépendance à la drogue. Pour me démontrer qu'effectivement, le problème est vraiment présent, c'est juste qu'on ne le voit pas, il me décide de m'emmener en ville pour me le démontrer.
This is Chapel Lane. This is synonymous with drug dealers and addicts. This is where people, during the night time, when it's quieter, will buy their drugs. This is a young girl here. I could try and get her to talk. I know her very well, Maria.
So, Maria, how are you doing?
Good. Good. Well.
You sure?
All right.
All right?
Yeah.
What are you doing here today?
Begging for money to feed
And what
my
you need money for?
drug habit.
How old are you now?
19.
19?
I know Maria from she was 16 years of age when she only started out, and she was smoking herbal cannabis. A couple of girls gave her a bad beating one day, bit her nose and all that, didn't they?
En discutant avec elle, ce que je comprends, c'est qu'elle s'est fait mettre à la porte de chez elle lorsqu'elle avait 16 ans. Et malheureusement, les gens qui l'ont aidée l'ont introduit au monde de la drogue et depuis ce temps-là, elle est rendue dépendante à la consommation d'héroïne, qui est le gros problème de consommation de drogue à Belfast.
Have you tried to reach out for help?
There is no help, really, in Belfast.
You tried to get
Some help from your family, from your mom?
Yeah, but Mum doesn't talk to me anymore.
That's it?
Yeah, just
Because of the
completely.
heroin, you know.
But if I get help, if I go to rehab and finish and come out clean, she's going to take me back, but I might
It's
not
hard.
go back.
It's hard, but
It is hard.
How much money do you have to raise every day?
Me, the 100, 150 a day.
$150 a day?
Yeah.
That's for drug and food?
Just for drugs.
that's what you
alone.
spend. on
Just for drugs?
Yeah.
And it doesn't.
Right,
You don't
not
get.
sitting
You don't get high no
freezing.
more. You just you take it to
Just
live,
take my sickness away.
just to be normal.
Maria, let me ask you a question. If you could get some help, would you take it?
Man, a heartbeat, yeah. I'm going to Downshire, Downpatrick here. It's a rehab, and I'll be going there for 5-6 weeks.
So you're planning to go?
And yeah, love. I mean, I'm still only
Bit hell
young,
for you.
so
Like, of course, you got your whole life ahead of you. You still time for you to have a family and like a
this
home.
isn't the way I live. Like, it's not that I've had it 6 years, yes. Like,
Get well.
thank you, Hugo. Thank
Take
you.
care of yourself.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you.
À un moment donné, je me retrouve dans une partie de la ville où c'est évident qu'on est du côté de ceux qui veulent rester collés à l'Angleterre parce qu'il y a des drapeaux anglais un peu partout dans la ville. Et finalement, je rencontre quelqu'un qui accepte de me parler, Jim. Can you tell me your first encounter with violence related to the conflict?
I was growing up in a perfect family. My younger brother, 4 years younger. At 10 years old as a child, I noticed that there was tension in the air, and then barricades started going up at certain places in the area I grew up in. And then eventually I was watching people loading their furniture onto lorries at the time and either moving one way or the other. And I realised then by picking it up that it was Catholics moving one way and Protestants moving the other. And then whenever people were moving out, the last act they done was set their house on fire, so as it wasn't being handed over to a Catholic, and it was the same one. If Catholics were moving out of a loyalist area, houses were being set on fire, so as the Protestants wouldn't be able to move into them. I went to a football match one time, seeing they were playing an opposition team which would have a Catholic support. Trouble erupted. Seen a policeman get in there with an Alsatian on a lead and a baton in the other hand, and I said, I want to do that. That's a way of me getting back at them for what they were doing to our community. Joined the Paramilitaries at the age of 15 because I couldn't get into the police then. And if I had been born a nationalist on the other side of the street, I would have probably been in the IRA.
So it just happened to...
It just happened to be, I was born a Protestant, I'm born in the Protestant faith, and I took my side.
Donc, étant donné que c'est un protestant et que je veux comprendre comment ça se passe de leur côté, je me mets à discuter avec Jim qui me raconte un peu son histoire. Et là, finalement, je pense que j'ai rencontré le bon bonhomme. You've been introduced to violence at quite a young age.
Well, as I say, the first dead body I seen was of, it would have been an informer from the Republican side that was dumped up at the side of our school. There was an army base based in an old factory beside our secondary school. Because of where it was, we were able to go out that morning and look over and see the body and the police pegging around it and putting the chalk line down. Not long after that, after the army had come in, and the nationalists had turned on the army, and a patrol was coming back in to go into the army base one day, and a shot rang out, and that would have been in the early 70s, and at the time they were putting it down to a sniper that had come back from America, which was of Irish descent. The shot happened, the soldier was hitting the back of the Land Rover. The Land Rover came speeding up the street rather than turning into the army base because it had to slow down to go over ramps and it could have put them into more vulnerable positions. And the soldier's lying there with half his head blew off and the other soldier's freaking out trying to put one of the bandages off the bottom of their rifles that they carried onto his head to stop the blood. After the army had come in, lifted the guy out, took him away. Obviously, the blood was still in the street from where it fell, and the Nationals came out, rolled the ball in his blood, and came so far up the street and then kicked the ball up towards yourselves. There's been atrocities that have been committed on both sides. It should never happen.
Donc, l'endroit où je le rencontre, c'est un centre communautaire, endroit où il travaille aujourd'hui. Et je dois dire, ça, c'est un choix de vie. Parce qu'une fois que les troubles ont été terminés, il n'y avait pas grande option pour les individus que tout d'un coup, ils cherchaient de quoi faire. Pour lui, il a décidé d'aider les gens à vivre l'après-période des troubles pour justement faire en sorte d'avoir une société où ce que ça allait mieux collaborer et surtout être en paix.
When the war finishes, whether you're a farmer, teacher, doctor, joiner or electrician, you put the gun down, go back to picking up tools and working with tools again.
That's one option.
That's one option, because I'm not moving out, you know, my family's not moving out, so there's nowhere to go but here. So either we stay here and talk and sort our differences out, or we'll go back to building barricades and living behind them and shooting each other. But that's not the answer. But more pain and anguish and young people going to jail and young people going to the graveyard.
As far as the organization goes, are they still on?
The organizations, at the quote Jerry Adams, as he said on for their side, that they haven't went away, you know. Well, I could say it exactly the same here. They haven't went away, you know, here either. They're still out there.
Je lui ai demandé s'il y avait d'autres choses que je devais voir. Il a décidé de m'emmener à un monument. Ce monument-là était vraiment spécial parce que c'est le seul monument qu'on retrouve en Irlande qui va porter hommage à toutes les factions qui se battaient pour la même cause. Ce qu'il faut comprendre, c'est que parmi les protestants, il y avait plusieurs groupes paramilitaires. On avait sensiblement le même objectif, mais on n'était pas nécessairement les meilleurs amis. Ce monument-là prête allégeance à tous ceux qui sont tombés pour la cause, et ce, pour la Première Guerre mondiale, la Deuxième, ainsi que pour la période des troubles qui a eu lieu en Irlande. UVF there. What's Red Hand?
Red Hand Commando. You've also got the Ulster Defence Association.
So all the paramilitary are actually represented here?
Represented here, yeah. And as far as I'm aware, it's the only one of its kind in Northern Ireland. We're the
all the three organizations?
Where the three organisations have came together to have the one memorial.
Does it show then everybody wants to come together?
It shows again in this community that we're working towards pulling everybody together. It's not just, you know, communities on both sides are fractured, but also within our own communities are fractured as well. So we need to work on the fractures within our own communities before we start working on fractures with our communities.
Very much appreciated.
Nice to meet you, Hugo.
Very nice meeting you too.
Too.
C'est pas un secret pour personne. J'ai été homme fort, j'ai participé à des compétitions un peu partout dans le monde et je me suis fait des amis à travers toute cette expérience-là. Et un de mes bons amis se trouve ici même à Belfast, Glenn Ross. Donc, après avoir entré en contact avec Glenn, on s'est donné un lieu de rencontre. Et le lieu de rencontre était à une ancienne maison où il habitait, dans un quartier assez particulier. Particulier pourquoi? Parce qu'il n'en reste pas beaucoup de rues comme ça. Et ça, c'était très représentatif de ce que Belfast ressemblait à l'époque. So I noticed that those streets where we're standing now are way different than everything else in Belfast.
Yeah, this would have been the old type of streets. It's one of the few last standing areas that hasn't been regenerated, but this is what probably Belfast would look like, certainly back in the 60s when the Troubles were here.
So the Troubles were not happening here?
No, there was trouble everywhere, really, you know. There was murders in every street, you know.
Every street?
It was a pretty hairy time, you know. People didn't know from day to day who was next.
Cut out the mistakes of your memories.
Donc, Glenn m'a expliqué un peu comment ça s'est passé, son enfance, comment il a quitté la ville en joignant les forces British, donc britanniques.
Were you at any time scared it would make you a target, being from here, serving for the army?
Every day.
Every day?
Even after the Troubles was ceasefire had come in, you still thought about it all the time, you know.
You had people serving with you who actually died during the conflict?
Yes, I had friends in the UDR and places like that. Old schoolmates and stuff would have died here, yeah.
How did you deal with it?
I don't like to think too much, you know. It's like any death in the family or friends. You just think forward. I think that's how you deal with life. Shit happens,
Yeah.
but it's about dealing with the shit.
Après avoir terminé son mandat, il est devenu portier, donc bouncer, comme on appelle dans le milieu, pour justement pouvoir s'entraîner pour vivre sa passion des hommes forts. Et c'est là qu'il m'a rencontré un événement qui l'a fortement marqué, et ça, bien après le cessez-le-feu.
I worked in a club a few miles from here. There was a couple of factions fighting over drugs, but I went to split up the fight. And I can remember a girl with a stiletto, one of the gang's millies. Yeah, she hit me in the forehead and stuck the stiletto there. And a gang member, he'd come in and I ended up having to clip him. And he was one of the top boys. And he threatened me that night. He come, found out where I lived, threw a rock through the window. And obviously, he nearly hit my wife in the head, and it made me mad. And then I seen him up the town, and I just went crazy, you know. I attacked him again. Then he got a large gang, and they come around and they put every window of my house in and every window of my car in. And I said to the wife, this is not going to go away. We need to move.
So you moved away?
We moved away to another town, but that wasn't enough for them. At the time, I thought I was going to get shot, you know. So I knew there was a river behind the house. So I run down the bank and I fell in like a rabbit hole. As soon as I got up, I felt this whack.
Was it a relief then?
Stick. It was like a sense of relief when I started getting hit with these sticks. And I thought they'd come here to beat me to death, you know.
So, no guns?
Rather than shoot me. And I thought, if I want to get out of this, I'm going to have to grab a stick. So I remember I ran at one of them, I pushed him to the floor, I ripped the stick off. And I just remember taking more and more hits around the head. And I started hitting the guy. And he screamed. And every time I hit him, he screamed. And I just remember that night, you know, the blood was coming out of my head so much I could hardly see. And I just kept wiping my eyes and, you know, a few curse words. I said, come on, who's next, you know? They called and they run up the hill. And I just remember shouting at them and then saying to myself, shut up, you know? Let them go, because my head was lying open, you know? And I remember holding onto the pickaxe handle and getting up the hill and for all my might, because I thought, if I get to the door, I might be able to live this out, you know, rather than bleed to death.
Ce qu'il faut dire, c'est que ça fait 20 ans que je connais Glenn. Donc, on a passé quand même beaucoup de temps ensemble à travers nos confrontations amicales. Et il m'a raconté des histoires qu'il ne m'avait jamais racontées. Donc, j'ai apprécié qu'il s'ouvre à moi et qu'il puisse me faire vivre une partie de sa vie qui avait été jusque-là cachée, du moins pour moi.
Thanks for sharing it with me. I wasn't aware of it. How comes you never told me that story?
Because it was private at the time, you know. It's like someone that was in my past and it was behind me now. I think positive people don't think of negative thoughts. They're just going to move on.
Donc, avant de quitter, écoutez, je le connais bien, on aime ça se tirer un pipe. J'y ai fait une blague, mais dans le fin fond, c'est moi le plus fort.
On another subject. What about if we talk about that time when I beat you on Log Lift, remember?
You only dream the days you beat me in Log Lift.
Hold on to this. There's enough of me to last the year.
Belfast a été pour moi une expérience enrichissante et très instructive. Ça m'a permis de prendre conscience que finalement, ici, les troupes qui ont vécu, c'était très violent et que ça a divisé une population en deux. Et que même, plus de 20 ans après cessez-le-feu, cette tension est encore présente, même si elle s'est fortement amenuisée.